Meredith grew up in New Orleans, and she ran away to Chicago to be an actor. Between plays, she got her black belt, fought in the Chicago Golden Gloves, ran the Chicago Marathon, and competed in the Savate World Championships. She now lives in Nashville. Ghost Tamer is her first novel. Meredith, it's yours.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. I'm reading a little bit early on in the story where our resident ghost, who is attached himself, they call him Casper, not his real name, to our heroine Rayleigh. She's determined to get rid of the evil ghost that's chasing her, and so she's found some ghost hunters online, and they're going to check it out. Casper's not on board with this, and here we go. We caught a bus to the West Side neighborhood that housing ads would call up and coming. I sat much farther back than usual because I didn't enjoy watching people sit on or walk through Casper, although he assured me that it happened all the time and was likely more uncomfortable for the living person than it was for him. I noticed that those who did pass through him often appeared to have a sudden upset stomach or a chill afterward, but everyone was cold in February. The ride was long and the day was a frosty steel gray. Buses were almost always warmer than trains, which I appreciated. I kept an eye on the street names and occasionally scanned the directions I had typed into my phone. Casper and I were the only ones to disembark at our stop. I'd already developed a bad habit of holding doors open for him unnecessarily. The sidewalks were largely unshoveled, so I took my time, not wanting a slip to reverse any of the dubious progress physical therapy had made on my injured leg. I looked up at intervals to check house numbers, but mainly concentrated on where I was putting my feet. Casper, however, was taking in the sights. This is a crappy neighborhood. Oh, I'm sorry. Where was your mansion again? Just keep your eyes open. Don't get mugged or something. You know, that's something we should discuss. Are you just a useless backseat driver in my life, dispensing opinions like an annoying cartoon angel on my shoulder? Or would you actually be of any use should your hypothetical muggers leap out of the snowdrifts and attempt to rob me of my train pass and the $2 of liquid capital on my person? I glanced at Casper as he exhaled in exasperation. His breath didn't cloud the air as mine did, which should have stopped surprising me by now. He kept his eyes forward, his dark eyebrows pulling closer together. I wouldn't be that useful, no. I haven't had a lot of practice at physically affecting things or people. Well, don't worry about it, I said, pausing in front of a rotting wooden fence to squint at the ice-blurred house number. People don't normally mug that many people when it's below freezing. This is us. I started to pick my way through the gap in the fence where presumably a gate was once attached when Casper stepped in front of me. Rayleigh, this is a shithole. You're incredibly judgy today. You're not going into this dump. Mission aborted. He folded his arms across his chest, as if he had authority over me. A weird burning sensation effervesced against my sternum. I wanted to both laugh and to punch him. Okay, all those with corporeal forms are entitled to vote on whether or not the mission proceeds. I walked through him. Look at that. The mission is proceeding. I heard something like a growl behind me, but I ignored it and banged on the door. There was a faded, handwritten scrap of lined notebook paper stuck behind the glass above the mail slot that read, Barrett's, Robert, and Marsh, Ghost Hunters, Inc. From somewhere within the house, a male voice hailed. Another answered with a guffaw. There were some thumps, a few more inarticulate shouts back and forth, then footsteps. Casper appeared at my elbow, glaring at the peeling paint on the door, his eyebrows lower than ever. A chain rattled and I heard the deadbolt slide back. The door swung open to reveal a taller than average man with short black hair and hazel eyes. He couldn't have been much older than I was. He was wearing jeans and a faded Johnny Cash t-shirt over a long-sleeved thermal. He gave me a quick once-over and blinked, then leaned against the doorframe and flashed a smile full of even white teeth. It was the kind of smile I occasionally got at the club, approximately 5 minutes before the predictable, what time do you get off work? Well, hello, doll, and to what do I owe the pleasure? Casper snorted. I ignored him. Hi, sorry, I didn't see any way to make an appointment. I got the address on your website. I'm hoping to talk to someone about ghost problems. Hey, you've come to the right place. He straightened and stuck out his hand. I extended my mittened paw in return and shook. Dylan Barrett, come on in. My partners and I were just going through some footage we got at our last job. I stepped into what was probably intended to be a living room, but looked more like a low-rent version of a hacker control center in a B movie. Computers and equipment on card tables lined the perimeter of the space, interspersed with beat-up couches and milk crates containing jumbles of electronics. A couple of mismatched thrift store coffee tables, placed with no real care for the room's feng shui, held empty pizza boxes and stacks of files and papers. Thanks. I stepped over a pile of unopened mail and into the warmth, pulling off my mittens and pushing them into my coat pockets. I'm Rayleigh. Holy shit, Dylan, this meter's going nuts. A shorter, scruffier man with dirty blonde hair shuffled over to us, expertly dodging piles of detritus, clutching what looked like a cross between a walkie-talkie and a battery tester. Hi, Chris Roberts, he said, barely glancing at me. He was dressed in an oversized flannel like a shrunken lumberjack. Dylan crossed to his side and gazed at the meter, which had some kind of green on black line jumping up and down on its Game Boy-esque screen. He waved at the last of the college frat rejects, beckoning him over. Greg, are you catching this one on the big one? I flinched when what I had taken first to be a pile of laundry in the corner rose from an overstuffed chair. Greg stumbled over with a larger meter connected to a handheld antenna, tripping over a milk carton en route. The most generic of the three, in a blue polo and rumpled khakis, he waved the antenna around as if he were blowing soap bubbles with it, his eyes darting back and forth between the faces of both meters. Yeah, the big one's going nuts too. This is wild. It started right when she came in. As one, they all looked up from their meters, eyes widening on me as if Christmas and their birthdays had all rolled in the door at once. You have some serious energy around you, Greg said. You must have been around a lot of spiritual activity lately. I heard Casper mutter something that sounded like Jesus Christ under his breath. Well, yeah, I said, that's kind of why. Where do you live? Chris interrupted me again. Is it super haunted? God, I'd love to do a stakeout and see what's causing this. I live in a very ordinary apartment, but I have a ghost standing right next to me. So that's probably why I waved a hand in the general direction of the contraptions they clutched. Those meter things are doing whatever. And I'm giving away a hardcover of Ghost Tamer, which will also make you cry, for those of you on the giveaway. I'll sign it too, and any color you want.